So in this part of the lesson, we're going to actually get to the meat of the lesson. We're going to be able to use that I can statement by the end of this one because we are going to find the exact value of each trig function. And what that basically means is that what is the actual value of the ratio on the triangle. Again, I'm going to shut off my webcam so we can see the whole screen. So this is where we're going to put it all together, the sines, all of these angle measures, and the triangles. Okay, and I'm going to use kind of a color coding because we're going to use a reference triangle. So I'm going to start with 150 degrees. I'm going to find that on my unit circle. I notice that it is blue. Okay, so I'm going to use the blue reference triangle this time. But before I do that, I need to decide what sign it is, just like we did in the last examples. So cosine in this quadrant is negative. So I have now taken care of that. Okay, since it's blue, I know its reference triangle is 30. Cosine in SOHCAHTOA world is ka, right? So adjacent over hypotenuse. So the exact value of this is negative square root of 3 over 2. Exact value means that they don't want you to put it in your calculator and do a decimal approximation. All right, so now let's look at 135. So 135 is the pink or the red line, okay? We are in quadrant 2. It's cosecant. Cosecant in quadrant 2 is allowed to be positive. Even though I know we don't need to write a positive in front, I do that part so I know I've checked it off my list. I know if it's positive or negative. All right, the pink or the red triangle is the 45-degree triangle. Now, we've been doing a lot of reciprocal flipping. For cosecant, I know that that is CHO, hypotenuse over opposite. So my hypotenuse is square root of 2. My opposite is 1. So this is square root of 2 over 1, which you don't necessarily need to simplify, but you can if you'd like. It's just square root of 2. Okay? All right. I am going to erase. Oh, maybe not. Not erasing. Okay. Let's use the eraser. I'm going to go ahead and erase my marks and try another one. So the next one is the sine of 240 degrees. And it really doesn't matter if you're doing this with the degrees or the radians, both of these work the same way. So here it is. It's in quadrant 3 and I'm looking for sine. I know in quadrant 3 sine has to be negative. All right, my line is green. So my reference triangle is the green triangle, the 60-degree triangle. Sine is so opposite over hypotenuse would be square root of 3 over 2. And you're going to notice you're going to get a lot of similar answers, and that is okay. That's what's supposed to be happening. All right, we're going to look at 5 pi over 6. 5 pi over 6 is here. In quadrant 2, the tangent is not sine or cosecant, so the tangent's negative. I'm going to start there. It's a blue line, so I'm going to my blue reference triangle. And my tangent is TOA. So my opposite is 1 and my adjacent is square root of 3. So I get 1 over square root of 3. Now in calculus world, that's okay to leave it that way, but when we see this on maybe a Kahoot or something later on, it's probably going to be simplified. So we would go ahead and simplify it and rationalize. So negative square root of 3 over 3. All right, let's clean it up a little bit. Do a few more. Okay, so cotangent of 5 pi over 4. I'm going to find 5 pi over 4 in my unit circle. Ooh, cotangent, I am allowed to be positive in that in quadrant 3. Then the reference triangle is pink. Cotangent would be cow, right? Adjacent over opposite. So my adjacent is 1. My opposite is 1. So I've got 1 over 1, which I'm allowed to leave, or just a 1. Okay, now we tried to get a little tricky on this next one. It's 8 pi over 3. There are a number of ways that I could do this. I could subtract 6 pi over 3. Okay, perfectly good. Or I could count my wedges. So we're going to check. We know that that's supposed to come out to be 2 pi over 3. Let's count our wedges. So if I was starting here and counting my wedges and I'm looking at over 3s are green, right? So 1 pi over 3, 2 pi over 3, 3 pi over 3, 4 pi over 3, 5 pi over 3, 6 pi over 3, 7 pi over 3, 8 pi over 3. So did I land where I expected to land? Absolutely. So you can either subtract it or you could just count it off. All right, so we are in quadrant 2. Secant in quadrant 2 is not allowed to be positive, so it's negative. And then we are on the green reference triangle. So on the green reference triangle, the secant is the hypotenuse over adjacent. So it would be 2 over 1 or just negative 2. All right, I'm going to erase my scribbles again. All right, got a few more left. So cotangent of 315. So 315 is right here. In quadrant 4, cotangent is not allowed to be positive, so it's negative. I'm looking at the pink or the red reference triangle. And cotangent, is cow. So adjacent is 1, opposite is 1. So I'm getting negative 1 over 1, which is just negative 1 if you wanted to reduce. All right, 2 pi over 3 is right here. So in quadrant 2, secant is not allowed to be positive, it's negative. I am looking at the green reference triangle. Secant is hypotenuse over adjacent. So my hypotenuse is 2, my adjacent is 1. So I get negative 2, or negative 2 over 1, or just negative 2. All right, last one. We're going to squish it on here. So 11 pi over 6 is right here. Okay, I am in quadrant 4. Cosine in quadrant 4 is allowed to be positive. I'm on the blue reference triangle this time. Cosine is or adjacent over hypotenuse, so square root of 3 over 2. Remember that you do need to write a summary, and this time there aren't the additional questions because I didn't take this lesson straight out of your textbook. So when that happens, write an answer to your essential question down here as your summary. Should be a couple of sentences.